Process-based change. Sounds a little technical, right? But don't worry. By the end of this session, you will understand it so well that you will be able to explain what process-based change is to anyone using examples like IRTC, IRCTC or Flipkart. So let us start from the top. What exactly is a process-based change? Simply put, it is all about changing the way things are done in an organization, streamlining, improving, or completely rethinking the internal process so that the company becomes more efficient, innovative, as well as competitive. You can think of it as cleaning up your kitchen when you realize that you're spending more time looking for a spoon than you're cooking. Now, why is this whole concept of process-based improvement important? Well, in today's uh, in today's business world, things change faster than Instagram trends, correct? If companies don't upgrade their ways of working, then they are at risk of being left behind. Remember how Indian Railways used to function earlier? Long queues, no clue about whether the seat is available or not, lots of frustration. But then what happened? IRCTC came along, and it is a perfect example of a process-based change. Now, with IRCTC, now what we can do? We can book tickets online, we can check for seat availability in real time. Even I think we can order food also to our seats, correct? I have only used IRCTC for like a couple of times because I don't usually travel by train. It is for me, commuting by bus is more than enough. So even bus, KRCTC has their one card now. Have any of you guys in my um my viewers list, have any of you bought one card? These days when I go to office through the government KRCTC, sorry, KSRTC bus, Kerala State Road Transportation, Anavandi, many people are using this one card. I haven't taken myself, but yeah. So these are all process improvement. These are all examples of process improvement. And another very famous example or a very relatable example is our banks. Earlier, what used to happen even for small things like updating the passbook or knowing what our bank balance is and all, we had to visit the branch. But now we have mobile banking apps, we can transfer money, we can check balances, we can even open fixed deposits or like all these things, mutual funds we can invest in, we can buy stocks, all these things from the comfort of our beds. We just need to open our eyes and have the mobile phone with a good data, right? Often without talking to a human, we can do it. We can even resolve banking queries. Like most banks now have their own chatbots. So the idea of this whole organizational transformation through process-based changes, it is very simple. If the process improves, the organization will improve naturally. It is like what you can say, they both go hand in hand. And this is the core idea of what we call organizational transformation as well. If so, this whole concept of this transformation, this organizational transformation, is not simply about a few changes here or there. It is rather all about changing the whole mindset, the culture, and even the way the teams interact with each other. So it usually all these kind of changes, they have to start at the top. Leadership will share a vision and then it will trickle down to all the levels and everyone will get involved, like a family function where even the kids will have a job to do, right? Now let us talk about why we even have to go through all of this kind of change. What is the need for all this change here? First, competition. Every company is racing to be the fastest, the cheapest, or the best. Without process based change, it is like running a race in slippers while others are wearing Adidas and Nike, right? Second, technology. With AI, automation, and digital platforms growing, companies have to keep updating their internal process or they will risk becoming the next Nokia or Kodak. The third is the workforce itself is changing. Employees today want more than simply salaries. They want growth, purpose, efficiency. Clunky old systems are not going to do the job anymore. We need change. So, how do we bring about this process based change? There are a few key methods. Okay, let us look at a few of them. First is BPR or business process reinvention. engineering, BPR. Okay, this is the boldest form of managing change. It says, let's tear the whole structure down and let's rebuild it from scratch. Right? It's like asking, why take baby steps when we can just jump ahead 10 years? So, for example, let's say if a company has too many steps to deliver a product, then BPR might completely redesign the delivery model in order to reduce the time, cost, or confusion. One a relatable good example about BPR, if I am to say that you can easily recollect and write in examination. Let me think. Hmm. State Bank of India, SBI. They were facing increased competition and manual fragmented branch operations. So SBI needed a radical process redesign. Customers at earlier they were branch centric and operations lacked centralization, right? If you consider ICICI and all, at that time itself, it was very easy to bank with them, whereas SBI was like a traditional government office. So what happened? SBI rolled out multiple BPR initiatives, including their core banking solutions, CBS. It is actually done by Tata Consultancy, I guess. Their CBS. ATMs, Retail Asset Centralized Processing Cell, Small Enterprise Credit Cell, Currency Administration Cell, and more. So, they introduced all these process re-engineering. Technology-enabled services like mobile banking, drop boxes, cross-selling services, all these things were introduced to enhance the efficiency and customer reach. So, this is a classic example that you can clearly remember also, because we have felt this. If I don't think there might be anybody, any family in India who at least one member doesn't have an SBI account. So you guys must have all gone through this BPR of SBI. You must have all been the benefactors of this BPR, right? So it is a very easy example for you guys to remember. So the result of all this initiative was that there was a dramatic improvement in productivity. Business per employee increased from 45 around 45,000 to more than 1.5 lakhs, and the profit per employee also rose by around 200 300 rupees in the same period. SBI improved service quality, automation, and competitiveness. So, this is a good example of BPR. There are other examples also, like when Mahindra and Mahindra, they implemented BPR at their Igatpuri and Kandivali plants. This happened in the mid 1990s. Mahindra and Mahindra's Igatpuri and Kandivali plants, they were having they had a lot of inefficiencies, low productivity, long production cycles. um, they were unproductive. There were, and the workforce was unionized, so the whole trade, all the problems that come with unionization, strikes, all those things, corruption, poor work culture, all these things were there in these branches of Mahindra and Mahindra. So what happened, they also implemented this business process restructuring at the Igatpuri engine plant, and that was with the assistance from Lucas Engineering Systems, a UK based firm. So the company restructured their operation into 6 autonomous clusters like automotive, components, telecom, farm equipment, and all. And they also introduced cellular manufacturing, total quality management. Total quality management is an entire course itself in IGNOU's MBA, you'll in fourth semester. So yeah, so they introduced all of this. Then cross-functional teams, all these things they introduced. Basically, they re-engineered their processes. And with these changes, there was a drastic productivity improvement. Um, and strikes ended when senior managers demonstrated noticeably higher output levels. The strikes also ended, and the restructured plants became efficient and profitable. So, this Mahindra and Mahindra's example you can quote, or SBI's example also you can quote in case you are asked about BPR in your exam. You can quote either one of these as example. Like I always say, don't wait for them. Don't wait for your term and examination question paper to ask for examples. Give them anyway, right? The second key method is total quality management, or TQM. This is all about slow and steady improvement. It believes in teamwork, customer satisfaction, and doing things right the first time. You can think about TQM like, your gym trainer saying, don't aim for six packs or losing 10 kg, 20 kg and all within 1 week. Just show up every day and eat your veggies, cut short on carbs, like that. Total quality management. To give an example, mm, yeah, you can talk about ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank, which is in the service sector, they applied TQM to improve their customer service and process efficiency. How they did is they used Six Sigma tools to reduce their loan processing time and also errors in transactions. Employee empowerment programs were introduced, which allowed frontline staff to solve customer issues without long approvals. And the whole result was they were able to provide faster services, higher customer satisfaction, and reduced complaints. Similarly, another example, if you want, is you can also talk about Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki, right? Suzuki, right? I think it's a Z, right? Yeah, Maruti Suzuki. They also adopted TQM in the late 1990s period. And they did it to improve the vehicle quality and compete with the global car makers. So for them it was like they involved suppliers in quality training, implemented Kaizen and 5S in plans. Customer feedback was looped directly into design production, and all in all, the result was that they reduced their defects and they were able to improve their mileage for their cars and safety ratings also. And with all that, they won the Deming Prize in 2006. So Deming is kind of like the Oscar for TQM kind of. It is one of the it is a very prestigious award for excellence in total quality management. Deming, MING, Deming Award or Prize, Deming Prize. So this Maruti Suzuki with their total quality management approaches, they won this Deming Prize in 2006. Similarly, even Tata Steel won it in 2008. Mahindra and Mahindra also had won this Deming Prize in 2003. So yeah, so that is Deming Prize. Okay, so that is about total quality management. Now let us look at downsizing. Downsizing is it means that you are reducing the workforce or operations to cut the cost. So naturally, when you downsize, you can improve efficiency, but if it is not handled properly, it can damage the morale of your employees and it could also lead to loss of good talent. So it is like trying to lose weight by skipping meals. It is not always the healthiest approach unless you're doing it properly and wisely, right? So some of the examples of downsizing that I can think of, hmm, mm, Tata Motors. Okay, Tata Motors to cut cost and improve efficiency, and also in order to transition to electric vehicles and all, what they did is they reduced their managerial workforce by about 1,500 positions or so. So for them, they were like they gave them voluntary retirement schemes and role consolidation and all. Similarly, Air India also they had offered VRS to thousands of employees after privatization. IT companies also like Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, they also have these periodic role cuts in middle management to adopt automation and reduced operational costs. Right now, TCS is in the news for layoffs, right? Downsizing. What is outsourcing? Outsourcing is when companies hand over certain processes to outside experts. Like, for instance, a company might outsource its customer service to another firm. That is outsourcing. Um, the benefits of outsourcing, definitely lower cost, expert handling, we can focus more on our core work. But at the same time, downsides are there. You will lose a bit of a control. Maybe you might even lose a little bit of quality also if you're not managing properly. Like, for example, Air India outsourced ground handling and in-flight catering to specialized companies that focused on these kind of flight operations. Infosys or TCS, It is the reverse side. Global clients outsource their software development or maintenance and customer support to Indian companies so that they can cut cost and they can have skill advantages. So all these IT firms in India, the service sector firms, that is the other side of what you can say this outsourcing. Manufacturing sector. In manufacturing sector, Hero Motor Corp, they outsources the production of certain components like seats, tires, or electronics to specialized suppliers instead of making everything in-house. So these are some of the examples of outsourcing that I could think of. Now, let's come back to BPR. Okay, let's look at each of these methods once again. Uh, so as to understand the challenges and how we can go through with these. Okay, first talk about PPR. This is a very important strategy. We said it involves rethinking everything, right? But is it a free ride? Just rethinking everything. Is it going to happen with smoothly like butter? No, there are going to be challenges, right? Sometimes organizations might lack the skill or resources that it needs to implement this BPR. Sometimes the culture might resist change, or worse, when they simplify the processes without really changing anything, that is like painting an old wall and calling it renovation. Right? Timing also matters. You cannot simply start BPR when the team is already drowning in workload. Right. B the timing of BPR matters. And don't forget, BPR has to align with the company's goals. If it is done in isolation, like say office team, you know, if it is done in isolation with just, one office team getting BPR and all, it won't, it might not work. So how can we avoid this failures in implementing BPR? How can you make sure that whatever BPR you are doing, it is successful? Companies will have to follow certain steps, like we have to choose the right process to re-engineer or the right process after re-engineering. We have to understand that process well. We have to create a very strong vision and we have to plan every action. And most importantly, communication. Communication is key everywhere. Okay, they have to clearly communicate it, because if employees don't understand what is changing and why it is changing, then naturally it is not quite natural that we are going to assume the worst. Like, oh my God, are we all going to get replaced by robots? Are we all going to lose jobs because of AI? Like that. So that is avoiding BPR failure. Now, TQM. Let us touch upon TQM again now. TQM, we said earlier also, it is all about quality. Quality at every level. That is why it is called total quality management, from the front desk to the CEO's cabin. So what is its motto? Do it right the first time, every time. It involves constant feedback, training, and collaboration. And over time, this is going to create a culture where improvement never stops. So it is like a marathon and not a sprint. Coming to downsizing, downsizing definitely helps cut cost, but if it is not done very thoughtfully, then what will happen? Layoff is going to create fear and reduce morales. So organizations will have to balance short-term savings with the long-term impact of this downsizing activity. The same goes for outsourcing. You just don't do it to save money, but we should do it when it genuinely adds value. So, how do you make sure these changes don't fail? It all comes down to strategic planning. How we can use technology smartly, involve people in the process, and definitely continuous monitoring, because change is not a one time event, it is a continuous process, it is ongoing, just like learning in our MBA. One lecture is not going to change your life, but regular effort is going to. So, to sum up all of this process based change, it is all about improving the way work gets done, whether it is through BPR, total quality management, downsizing, or outsourcing. The goal ultimately is the same: make the organization better, faster, and more efficient. But the secret sauce is always people. When employees are involved, when they are motivated and trained, any change, no matter how difficult it is, can succeed. So the next time you use phone pay to pay your chaiwala, remember, you are part of India's digital process revolution, India's BPR. And maybe, just maybe, you might end up being the one who is leading the next big transformation in your future HR role. I hope. So that is it for this session. I hope it was meaningful for your term and examination preparation. I hope you got a good few examples in your bucket to write it down if your exam ever asks for it. Don't forget to like and share this video, and please consider subscribing if you have not done already. Until we meet again, happy learning.